This is the story of how Israeli drone pilots choose their targets. What goes on inside a war room when a UAV pilot has to make the final call on whether to blow up a school which intel reports say is a Hamas command and control center or not? What happens when a split-second decision may end up deciding the fate of your comrades? What is a pilot flying a Hermes 900, sitting miles away, thinking when they unleash the fury of spike missiles on a suspected terrorist convoy? Being a drone pilot is no easy job. A predator circles high in the sky. The enemy has been identified. Munitions are locked and loaded. And before you know it, boom. Unmanned aerial vehicles, or drones, have taken center stage, even as the war in the Middle East rages on. These drones unleash lethal strikes on their enemies while keeping their pilots alive, miles away. But it is no coward's job.
I know that I fight out of necessity and out of love what I have behind, and not because I hate what is in front of me.
The Israeli Defense Forces have long been credited as one of the pioneers of targeted drone warfare. But the history of unmanned aerial combat goes much further, tracing its roots to when Iraqi forces were pushing the Daesh out of Mosul and ISIS combatants began deploying drones that dropped explosives on soldiers and civilians alike. But this is not that story.
Israeli drones struck a Hamas hideout in Gaza.
UAV attacks go thick and fast on the eve.
No end to the drone attacks from Yemen.
A drone strike by Israeli Defense Forces eliminated.
A bad neighborhood is an understatement for Israel, if there ever was one. The Hamas-Houthi-Hezbollah axis keeps the IDF on its toes. Whether it is troops on the ground, naval ships, or aerial combat, the Israeli military has a lot on its platter, to say the least. First Lieutenant I of the Israeli Defense Forces is a UAV operator, engaged in tactical operations against the many enemies Israel is facing off against. So the simplest question ever, what's going on inside First Lieutenant I's mind when they are flying a mission in enemy territory?
We need to stop or strike what we need to strike. Our ammunition is designed to strike very, very specific areas, which are very, very small and concentrated. And we have the ability to conduct the situational analysis that allows us to decide when not to strike.
While they may be lean, mean fighting machines, these UAV pilots have to deal with challenging circumstances. For instance, Gaza is a densely populated area. Any operation in the Strip requires precision at the risk of massive collateral damage. On the other hand, Lebanon is mountainous with large open spaces and its own set of issues. Reports suggest, given the multi-front warfare Israel is engaged in, UAV operators have to handle drones in multiple sectors at the same time. The almost video game-like job is very high stakes. Minute mistakes can lead to massive disasters. Within seconds, a drone operator could cause the deaths of his own comrades, risking their lives on the ground or have the blood of innocents on their hands. So how does Lieutenant I decide when to attack and who to attack? Well, they get specific intel on enemy assets, and as per reports, the standard operating procedure is some sort of visual confirmation before blowing the enemy to smithereens.
Israel is not in the best neighborhood. We have been preparing for an attack and we are ready for anything. There are diplomatic attempts to de-escalate the situation, but we are ready for everything.
It is a tough job. Drone pilots from US, UK, and even Israel have reported symptoms of PTSD. That's post-traumatic stress disorder. The stakes are high, the degree of flexibility low, but the modern war calls for it. The so-called asymmetries of attack drones have changed modern warfare. UAV provide militaries with the option of carrying out precision strikes deep within enemy territory without taking casualties. The Israeli Defense Forces reportedly are large-scale users of FPVs or first-person view drones. These UAVs provide live footage to a control center from where they can deliver thousands of kilos of JDAMs or Joint Direct Attack munitions. These drones are equally capable of targeted strikes on a car as well as taking down a whole building. The recent wars in the Middle East and Europe are prime examples of the changing face of warfare. Nations across the world have looked at these wars and pivoted towards the inclusion of UAVs in their military strategies. Even as Iran's proxies deploy their drones, Ukraine tries to attack Moscow, and Israel takes out Hamas command centers in Gaza. The innovation of UAVs continue. As they say, necessity is the mother of innovation.